You ever meet someone who changes everything? I mean, one glance, one moment, and your whole world flips upside down. That's what happened to me. I was just a guy trying to climb the corporate ladder, working late nights, keeping my head down, doing everything right. Then she walked into my life, my boss's daughter. Her name was Lily, and she was everything I wasn't supposed to want: confident, untouchable, and completely off limits. One smile from her, and I was done for. One stolen kiss, and I lost my job, my reputation, everything I'd worked for. How did it come to this? How did I let her unravel me? Stick around, because this story isn't just about love, it's about what happens when you cross lines you can't uncross, when desire blinds you to the cost, and when one choice burns your entire life to the ground. I'm not here to make excuses or paint myself as a hero. I made mistakes, and I paid for them. But let me tell you how it happened, how I fell so hard I didn't see the fall coming until it was too late. Let me take you back to where it all started. I was 27, living in a cramped one-bedroom apartment in Chicago, the kind with creaky floors and a view of a brick wall. My name's Ethan, and I'd landed a job at a mid-sized marketing firm, a place where you either sink or swim, no in between. It was my first real shot at something big, and I wasn't about to mess it up. My boss, Mr. Hargrove, was the kind of man who commanded a room without trying. He built the company from nothing, and his name carried weight. One look from him could make you feel like you were failing at life. But he liked me, or at least he seemed to. He'd call me into his office, clap me on the shoulder, and say things like, "You've got potential, Ethan. Don't waste it." That meant everything to me. I was the guy who stayed late, who triple-checked every report, who said yes to every deadline, no matter how brutal. I was hungry, and this job was my ticket to something bigger, a corner office, a name people respected, a life I could be proud of. The office was a pressure cooker, a constant hum of stress and ambition. You could feel it in the air, everyone scrambling to prove themselves, to get a nod from Hargrove. I thrived in it. My days were long, sometimes 9 a.m. to midnight, but I didn't care. I had a plan: work hard, get noticed, make it to senior management by 30. No distractions, no drama. Relationships? They weren't even on my radar. I'd had a few flings over the years, nothing serious. A date here, a hookup there, but my heart was never in it. My focus was the grind, the hustle, the dream of making it. That's what I told myself, anyway, until the company's annual gala. It was one of those events you see in movies: black tie, open bar, chandeliers sparkling above a sea of tailored suits and glittering dresses. I was there to network, to shake hands with the right people, maybe pitch an idea to Hargrove if I got the chance. I was in a rented tux that felt too tight, sipping a drink I couldn't afford, and feeling like I didn't quite belong among the executives. That's when I saw her. Lily Hargrove. She was standing by the bar, wearing a deep red dress that seemed to pull every bit of light in the room toward her. Her dark hair fell in soft waves, and her eyes, God, her eyes had this spark, like she was in on a secret the rest of us could only guess at. She was 22, fresh out of college, and when she laughed, every head turned. It wasn't just her beauty, though she was stunning. It was the way she carried herself, like she owned the room without even trying. I didn't know she was his daughter at first. All I knew was she was magnetic, like a force you couldn't ignore. I caught myself staring, and instead of looking away, she met my eyes and smiled. Not a polite, fake smile, a real one, warm and daring, like she was inviting me to take a risk. I should have turned around right then. I should have known better. But my feet were moving before my brain could catch up. I crossed the room, introduced myself, and we started talking. It was so easy, too easy. She was sharp, with a quick wit and a laugh that made my chest ache. She tilted her head when she listened, like she was really hearing me, like I was the only person in that crowded ballroom. We talked about music, how we both loved obscure indie bands, about Chicago winters, about how she hated these stuffy events as much as I did. For a moment I forgot where I was, who I was. I was just Ethan, and she was just Lily, and the world felt simple. Then someone called her name. Lily Hargrove! And my stomach dropped. Hargrove. As in my boss, Mr. Hargrove. The realization hit me like a punch. My heart sank, but her smile didn't falter. She leaned in close, her voice low and teasing. Don't worry, she whispered. I won't tell Daddy you were flirting with me. Her words sent a shiver down my spine, half thrill, half warning. I laughed it off, tried to play it cool, but inside I was reeling. She was his daughter. Off limits in every way. I should have walked away, made some excuse, and never looked back. But I didn't. I stayed caught in her orbit, already hooked. The next few weeks were torture. I tried to keep my distance, I swear I did. I buried myself in work, took on extra projects, anything to avoid running into her. But Lily had a way of showing up, like she knew exactly where I'd be. She'd started interning at the company, some kind of get to know the business thing her dad insisted on. She'd breeze into meetings, her presence filling the room, or drop by my desk with questions about campaigns that didn't need answering. She'd linger in the break room, sipping coffee, always with that same knowing smile. Every time she was near, I felt it, this pull, like gravity, tugging me toward her. I told myself it was nothing, just a stupid crush. She was young, beautiful, untouchable. I was a professional. I could handle it. But deep down, I knew I was lying to myself. Then came the late nights. We were working on a massive client pitch, the kind that could make or break careers. Hargrove put me in charge of a small team, and somehow, Lily was on it. We'd stay late, sometimes just the two of us, going over designs, tweaking data, arguing over font choices. The office would empty out, the city lights glowing through the windows, and it felt like we were in our own little world. She'd sit too close, her knee brushing mine under the table. She'd laugh at my terrible jokes, her hand lingering on my arm just a second too long. I knew it was dangerous, but I couldn't stop myself from leaning into it. Those nights became the highlight of my days. I'd catch myself thinking about her when I was alone, wondering what it'd be like to hold her, to kiss her, to let go of the rules for just one moment. One night, it all came crashing down. We were alone in the conference room, papers scattered everywhere, half-empty coffee cups littering the table. She was talking about some design tweak, her voice animated, but I wasn't listening. I was watching her, her lips, her eyes, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear. She caught me staring again, and this time, she didn't smile. She just looked at me, her gaze steady, like she was waiting for me to make a move. I don't know who leaned in first, but suddenly we were kissing, desperate and reckless, like the world was about to end. It was electric, overwhelming, everything I'd been trying not to feel for weeks. Her hands were in my hair, my heart was pounding, and for those few seconds nothing else mattered. But the moment we pulled apart, reality hit like a tidal wave. I could lose everything, my job, my reputation, my future. She was my boss's daughter. This wasn't just a fling, this was a line I couldn't uncross. I tried to stop it right there. I pulled back, my voice shaky, and told her it was a mistake, that we couldn't do this. She just looked at me, calm as anything, and said, "You don't get to decide that, Ethan." Her voice was soft but firm, like she'd already made up her mind. And that's when I knew I was in trouble. Because Lily wasn't just some girl. She was a force, and I was caught in her pull, spiraling towards something I couldn't control. The next few months were a tightrope walk, every step more dangerous than the last. We'd steal moments when no one was looking, quick glances in meetings, secret texts at midnight, late-night calls when I should have been sleeping. Every time I tried to pull back, she'd draw me in deeper. She'd show up at my apartment unannounced, her eyes bright with that same daring look, like she was testing me. "You're scared," she'd say, teasing, but she wasn't wrong. I was terrified. Not just of getting caught, but of how much I wanted her. She was younger, sure, but she wasn't naive. She knew exactly what she was doing, and that made it worse. I was falling for her, hard, and every step felt like I was walking toward a cliff. I'd lie awake at night, my mind racing, torn between the thrill of her and the fear of losing everything I'd worked for. The office started to notice, not us exactly, but me. I was slipping, missing deadlines, forgetting details, my focus completely shot. I wasn't the same Ethan who'd impressed Hargrove with my hustle. I was distracted, jumpy, always looking over my shoulder. One day, Hargrove pulled me aside, his face unreadable. "You're distracted, Ethan," he said, his voice low. "This isn't like you." I mumbled some excuse about stress, but his eyes lingered, like he could see right through me. I started to wonder if he knew. Had someone seen us? Had Lily said something? The paranoia was eating me alive, but I couldn't stop. Every time I saw her, it was like the rest of the world faded away. I was addicted, and she was my fix, even as I felt the walls closing in. Things got messier, more complicated. Lily started pushing for more, not just stolen moments, but a real relationship. She'd talk about running away together, leaving Chicago, starting over somewhere no one knew us. She'd paint these vivid pictures of a life where we could be free, where her father's shadow didn't loom over us. It was a fantasy, and I told her so, but part of me wanted it too. I'd lie awake at night, imagining it, a small house somewhere quiet, her laughter filling the rooms, no more sneaking around. But then I'd snap back to reality, thinking about everything I'd built, my career, my reputation, the years of grinding to get here. Could I really throw it all away for her? Was she worth it? I didn't know, and the uncertainty was tearing me apart. The tension at work became unbearable. Rumors started swirling, nothing concrete, but enough to make people whisper. A coworker caught us laughing together in the break room, our heads too close, our smiles too familiar. The next day, I overheard her gossiping about Ethan's little crush. I laughed it off, tried to act like it was nothing, but inside I was panicking. Lily didn't care. She'd brush off my warnings, saying, "Let them talk. They're just jealous." But she didn't get it. She was the boss's daughter. She'd always land on her feet. I was the one who'd lose everything if this came out. I tried to talk to her about it, to make her see how serious this was, but she'd just roll her eyes and say, "You worry too much, Ethan." It was like she thrived on the risk, while I was drowning in it. Then came the night that broke me. We were at a bar after work, a group of us from the office, blowing off steam after a brutal week. Lily had insisted on coming, even though I begged her to stay away. She was in a mood, reckless, flirting with me in front of everyone. She'd lean in close, her hand brushing my arm, whispering comments that made my face burn. I tried to keep my distance, sticking to the other side of the group, but she kept finding ways to pull me in, a touch here, a look there, a smile that said she didn't care who saw. By the end of the night, I was a wreck, torn between wanting her and knowing we were playing with fire. I could feel eyes on us, could sense the whispers starting, and it made my skin crawl. That's when Mr. Hargrove showed up. I don't know if someone tipped him off or if it was just bad luck, but there he was, standing in the doorway of the bar, his eyes locked on us. Lily was leaning close, her hand on my knee, laughing at something I'd said. I froze, my heart in my throat. He didn't say anything, just stared, but I felt the weight of it, like a judge passing sentence. The next day, he called me into his office. I expected him to fire me on the spot, to tear into me for crossing the line with his daughter. But instead, he was calm, too calm. "You're a good employee, Ethan," he said, his voice steady. "But you're treading on dangerous ground. I trust you'll make the right choice." It wasn't a threat, not exactly, but it was close enough. I nodded, promised to stay focused, but inside, I was spiraling. He knew. Maybe not everything, but enough to make my life hell if I didn't stop. I tried to end things with Lily after that. I sat her down, told her we were done, that it was too risky, that I couldn't keep doing this. I expected tears, maybe anger, but she didn't cry or beg. She just looked at me, her eyes cold and sharp, and said, "You'll regret this, Ethan." I thought she was being dramatic, just lashing out, but I should have known better. Lily wasn't the type to let go, not when she wanted something. Her words stuck with me, echoing in my head, and I started to feel like I'd made an enemy, not just lost a lover. A week later, the rumors exploded. Someone, I still don't know who, leaked an email chain between me and Lily. They weren't explicit, just a few messages, flirty and vague, but enough to make it clear we were more than colleagues. The office turned into a minefield overnight. People stopped talking when I walked by, their eyes darting away. My coworkers avoided me, their conversations drying up when I entered the room. I could feel the judgment, the whispers, the assumptions. Mr. Hargrove didn't say a word, but I could feel his disappointment every time he looked at me, like I'd betrayed him personally. I was called into HR, sat in a sterile room with a woman who asked pointed questions about inappropriate conduct. I denied everything, said it was a misunderstanding, but it didn't matter. The emails were real, and they were enough. The damage was done. Lily, though? She was fine. She played the part of the innocent intern, the boss's daughter who'd been misled by an older, more experienced employee. I couldn't believe it. She turned it all on me, painting me as the one who'd crossed the line, the one who'd taken advantage. I had no proof, no way to fight back. The emails were from my account, after all, and she'd been careful, too careful. I started to wonder if she'd planned it this way, if she'd always known how this would end. Had she been playing me from the start, using me to feel something, to rebel against her father, to chase a thrill? The thought made me sick, but it made too much sense to ignore. In the end, I lost everything. Mr. Hargrove didn't fire me outright. He didn't have to. The rumors, the whispers, the sidelong glances, they made it impossible to stay. Every day at work was a reminder of what I'd done, what I'd lost. My colleagues treated me like a pariah, my projects were reassigned, and my name was poison. I resigned a month later, my reputation in tatters. I tried to find another job in the industry, but word had spread. I was toxic, untouchable. I ended up moving back to my hometown, a small place in Ohio where no one knew my story. I took a job at a tiny firm, doing work I hated, far from the life I'd dreamed of in Chicago. It was like starting over, but worse, like I'd been erased. Lily? She moved on, of course. Last I heard, she was engaged to some finance guy, living the life she was always meant to have. She'd posted pictures online, smiling, radiant, like nothing had ever happened. I don't know if she ever felt guilty, if she ever thought about me, about what she'd cost me. Part of me hopes she did, that she lies awake some nights, wondering if she went too far. But another part of me knows she didn't. She got what she wanted, a thrill, a story, a way to feel alive. And I was just collateral damage, a footnote in her life. Looking back, I don't know if I regret it. That's the worst part, the part that keeps me up at night. Even after everything, losing my job, my future, my pride, I can't stop thinking about her. That first kiss, those late nights, the way she made me feel like I was more than just a guy in a cubicle. For a few months, I felt alive, like I was part of something bigger, something real. Was it worth it? I don't know. Some days I think it was. Other days, I hate myself for even considering it. I gave up everything for her, and she walked away without a scratch. But those moments with her, they're burned into me, and no amount of regret can erase them. So, what would you have done? Would you have risked it all for a love you knew was doomed? Would you have walked away, or would you have fallen like I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stories, your regrets, your what-ifs. Have you ever loved someone you shouldn't, someone who turned your world upside down? Share it below, because I know I'm not the only one who's been here. And if this story hit you as hard as it hit me, hit that subscribe button for more stories that cut deep, that make you feel the weight of choices and consequences. Share this with someone who's ever fallen for the wrong person. Trust me, they'll get it.